Hi, welcome to Gramophone Music Studio YouTube channel. This is the second video from our new series all about the orchestral instruments. Let's find out about the woodwind instruments this time. You can also find ABRSM and Trinity exam related information, ABRSM oral test series, and ABRSM Grade 5 theory series on our channel among the rest. Check out our channel to find out more contents that might interest you. The standard instruments in woodwind family are flute, oboe, clarinet, and bassoon. Apart from these four primary instruments, there are other subcategories of them, and they are used commonly since the Romantic period. We will learn more about them in a while. These instruments are in order from the highest to lowest sounding, as well as smallest to biggest shape. In the older times, these instruments were made from wood, and sound is produced by blowing into the instrument, hence the name woodwind. Woodwind instruments are among the oldest musical instruments ever crafted by humans, tracing back to over 40,000 years ago. It has gone through a number of evolutions to what it is today. They are now made of a combination of wood, silver, gold, and steel. They can produce only one note at a time. Players blow into the instrument and press the keys to produce different pitches. Flute has an embouchure hole directly on the instrument, but for the other woodwind instruments they use a reed. It is made out of cane and is divided into single reed and double reed. Single reed is just a single piece of cane, whereas double reed requires binding two pieces of cane together expertly. Because cane is a natural and organic material, it must be pliable to vibrate properly. Musicians must dip their reeds in water to ensure they are damp enough before playing, which is exactly why you will always see woodwind players keeping a small cup of water on their music stands. Despite the sizes and complex networks of metal keys and rods, woodwinds are remarkably portable. They are engineered to be entirely disassembled into separate joints and packed away into a complex treble cases. This multi-jointed construction serves as a double purpose. Woodwind players adjust their tuning by physically twisting and pulling the joints. Pulling a joint slightly out lengthens the overall air column, lowering the pitch. Pushing it firmly in shortens the column, raising the pitch. Flute, oboe, and clarinet reeds in treble clef, whereas bassoon reeds in bass clef. Flute is played by holding the instrument horizontally. Flute does not have a reed and is the only instrument in the family that doesn't use a reed. It is a non-transposing instrument. While it was made of wood in the past, modern orchestral flutes today are made of silver, gold, or even platinum. Let's hear what the flute sounds like. The flute sits at the top of the woodwind family. Its main job is to play bright, fast, and soaring melodies that cut right through the sound of the entire orchestra. You can hear the flute's famous solo in Prelude in the Afternoon of a Faun by Debussy. Wait a minute, actually its sibling, the piccolo, sounds higher than the flute, and is the highest sounding in the whole orchestra. It is one octave higher than written. It sounds incredibly brilliant, piercing, and often used to mimic the sound of birds. There are other types of flute too, including the alto flute and bass flute that sometimes feature in movie soundtracks. They can form an ensemble usually known as the flute choir, featuring the different types of flute yet diverse in sound and range. Oboe is a non-transposing instrument and uses a double reed. It is held vertically. In an orchestra, it is responsible for playing the A for the whole orchestra to tune. This is because oboe has a distinct and clear sound, making it easier for all the other instruments to tune to. It is almost always given the most emotional, beautiful, and haunting solo melodies. We can hear oboe playing the famous melody in the Swan Lake theme. A subcategory of oboe would be cor anglais, or known as English horn. It has a lower pitch than oboe and is slightly larger. It is a transposing instrument in F which sounds a perfect fifth lower than written. The most well-known extract would be from Dvorak Symphony No. 9 New World, second movement. Next on the list would be the clarinet. It uses single reed. It is a transposing instrument commonly available in B flat, A, or E flat. It is held vertically. If you're still unsure what a clarinet is, it is the one that Squidward plays in SpongeBob SquarePants. The clarinet can play incredibly quiet or burst out with loud jazzy energy. It bridges the gap between the high flutes and the low bassoons, filling out the middle harmonies and playing fast, agile run-throughs. Hear the incredible clarinet solo in Rhapsody in Blue by Woodwind. The subcategory of clarinet would be the bass clarinet, slightly larger than a regular clarinet and sounding an octave lower. The lowest sounding instrument in the standard woodwind family is bassoon. It uses double reed. It is a non-transposing instrument and the longest instrument out of all. It is held vertically with a strap or a body harness. The bassoon is the structural anchor at the bottom of the woodwind section. Its main job is to provide the deep, rich bass notes that support everyone else's melodies. However, composers also love using it for its unique personality. It can sound deeply dramatic in one moment and bouncy, staccato, or comical in the next. Hear bassoon in action in Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. There is also contrabassoon, or known as the double bassoon, which is even larger and sounding an octave lower than the bassoon, making it the real lowest sounding instrument in the woodwind family. Due to their expressive nature and also generally softer dynamics, they are assigned beautiful solo melodies in the orchestra. That is also the reason there is no mute for woodwind instruments. Although they can only play one note at a time, with two or more players available in the orchestra, they can play different parts that create chords, marked at divisi in the music. Looking back at history, starting from the classical period, composers established a standard orchestral blueprint known as double winds. This specified employing exactly two of each standard woodwind instrument, which is two flutes, two oboes, two clarinets, and two bassoons, to create a balanced acoustic harmony. However, as the Romantic period arrived, composers began exploring a much wider palette of sound ranges, timbres, and tone colors, making the subcategories like piccolos, English horns, and bass clarinets a permanent fixtures on stage. The number of players is still significantly lesser compared to the string family. Interestingly, French horns are frequently grouped with the woodwind family in the standard chamber music of wind quintets. Even though the French horn is physically made of brass, its warm, velvety, and blending timbre allows it to bridge the acoustic gap between woodwinds and brass seamlessly. Apart from the common orchestral instruments, it will be useful to learn about some other woodwind instruments. Firstly, the recorder. Most of us learn this in school, but it is actually capable of being virtuosic and impressive techniques. It is frequently used in the Baroque period. Next up, the saxophone. In fact, the saxophone is very similar to the clarinet. It also uses a single reed. Saxophone is relatively new compared to the other woodwind instruments, and very commonly used in jazz music in the modern day. But it is also featured in some 20th century orchestral music, for instance in Rachmaninoff's symphonic dances. As woodwind instruments use air to play the instrument, they practice diaphragmatic breathing. Some advanced woodwind players use a mind-boggling technique called circular breathing to play long musical phrases without ever stopping to take a breath. While playing, they store a pocket of air in their cheeks. When they run out of lung power, they use their cheek muscles to squeeze that trapped air into the instrument to keep the note going, while simultaneously inhaling rapidly through their nose to refill their lungs. It creates a continuous loop of unbroken sound. To play a woodwind instrument, controlling the air with your breath is only half of the hard work. To separate notes, start and stop sounds, or create special effects, musicians use their tongue. There is single tonguing, t, 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 double or triple tonguing, t, 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 and flutter tonguing, which is to roll R, which creates different effects in the music. Have you noticed musicians frequently swabbing out their instruments or letting liquid clear out of the tone holes? Is it unhygienic, and is that liquid pure saliva? In fact, it is not. Because a musician blows warm, humid human air into an instrument with a cooler internal bore, rapid condensation happens inside the tube. The air traps moisture against the walls, turning into pure water droplets. This will clog the tiny tone holes and cause the notes to gurgle or stop speaking entirely, making the clearing of water a constant and essential habit for every woodwind player. In the modern day, most woodwind instruments are factory made, for instance by Yamaha, but there are also woodwind instrument makers. While a beginner model cello can cost around $500, a beginner model oboe or bassoon can cost $2,000, and a professional model at $40,000 or more. This is due to the intricate and complicated mechanism, price of wood and related materials. Woodwind instruments can play solo, chamber music, in orchestra, wind ensembles, marching band, and in jazz music. You may learn more about the instruments by listening to Benjamin Britten's Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. Many orchestras also produce videos introducing each orchestral instruments. I will link them in the description. I hope this sparks your interest to explore further about the woodwind instruments. See you in the next video for brass. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Subscribe to our channel for more contents. See you next time.